why your body hurts more after 60, and what it's really trying to tell you. After 60, the body begins to whisper. It doesn't always shout or scream. No, it starts with a quiet ache in the morning, a stiffness in the knees when you rise, a soreness in your lower back after a short walk to the mailbox. You might shrug it off at first. It's just age, you say. I'm just getting older. But what if your body was trying to say something more? You see, pain in our later years isn't always just physical. It's layered. It's complex. Sometimes, it's a reflection of everything we've been through, the stress we carried silently, the losses we never had time to grieve, the dreams we quietly let go of. And all those things, while invisible to others, find a place to settle in your shoulders, in your hips, in the curve of your spine. For decades, your body has been your quiet companion. It carried you through early mornings and sleepless nights, through heartbreaks and celebrations, through raising children, building a life, and weathering storms you never thought you'd survive. But somewhere along the way, we stopped listening. We began seeing pain as a problem, not a message, a nuisance, not a teacher. But what if every ache, every stiffness, every deep soreness is actually your body's way of finally asking to be heard? Not with fear, not with frustration, but with gentleness, with curiosity, with compassion. At this stage in life, healing doesn't mean becoming who you were at 30. It means embracing who you are at 60, 70, or 80 fully, tenderly, and without shame. Because aging isn't a decline, it's a deepening, and your body, with all its wisdom and wear, deserves to be honored. So today, let's pause, let's listen, not just to the pain, but to the story beneath it. Because when we finally hear what the body has been trying to say, we begin to truly heal. And when we begin to listen, truly listen, we realize that the pain isn't the enemy, it's the messenger. Think about how long your body has waited. Decades, perhaps, of carrying weight that no one else could see. The responsibilities, the expectations, the quiet sacrifices. The years of putting others first, of saying, I'm fine, even when you weren't. The body remembered it all, even when the mind tried to forget. And now, in the quiet of your later years, it finally speaks not out of anger, but out of longing. Longing for rest, longing for softness, longing for you. You may feel your knees ache as you rise from bed. But could it be that your body is simply asking you to slow down, to move with more intention, to honor each step instead of rushing through the day as you once did? You may notice your shoulders tighten without reason. But perhaps it's not without reason at all. Perhaps those shoulders have been your armor holding up the world for so long, they've forgotten how to drop their guard. And that deep, nagging soreness in your lower back? Maybe it's more than muscles and joints. Maybe it's the wear of decades spent bending not just physically, but emotionally. Bending for others. Bending for survival. Bending always, to be strong. But here's the quiet miracle. The body isn't punishing you. It's inviting you to rest, to release, to return. Because healing after 60 doesn't begin in the gym or in a bottle of pills. It begins in the heart, in the willingness to soften, in the courage to stop running from the discomfort, and to meet it with grace. Pain is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the body's final language when all the others have been ignored. So today, as you sit with your aches, place your hand gently on the place that hurts. Not to fix it, not to change it, but to say, I'm here. I'm finally listening. And in that simple act of attention, something begins to shift. And when you begin to truly listen, you'll find that every part of your body has something to say. The lower back, often the first place to tighten, to ache, might be speaking of burdens carried far too long. Not just physical loads, but emotional ones. The silent worries about your children, the financial strain you never voiced, the deep loneliness you tucked beneath a smile. It is the weight of decades, pressing into your spine, asking, pleading for release. Your shoulders, always tense, may be whispering of responsibilities you never laid down. How many times did you hold up the world for everyone else? How often did you pretend to be okay so others could fall apart? The shoulders remember. They have become strong from holding everything together, but they are tired now. They long to soften, to be held for once not by duty, but by love. Then there are the hands. Perhaps they ache when you open a jar or hold a cup of tea. But maybe that pain isn't just about joints or age. Maybe it's about all the things you've had to let go of. The people, the dreams, the moments that slipped away without goodbye. Your hands once strong, always giving now ask, can you receive? Can you allow yourself to be cared for after all these years of caring for others? Even your feet, weary and swollen at the end of the day, have a story. They carried you through life's hardest paths. They stood firm when you were trembling inside. But maybe now, they ache not just from use but from a longing to be still. To rest. To no longer run, but simply be. None of this pain is meaningless. None of it is random. Each ache, each twinge, each quiet throb. It's a chapter in your story. A story that the world may have forgotten, but your body has remembered in every cell. And so, instead of fighting the pain, what if you honored it? What if, instead of resisting, you welcomed it as an old friend, one that finally has the courage to speak? Because in these later chapters of life, healing doesn't come from ignoring pain. It comes from hearing it, with gentleness, with love, with the patience you once gave so freely to others now, at last, given to yourself. And once you've listened truly, quietly listened, your next step is not to fix, but to care. Because the body doesn't need punishment to heal. It doesn't need pushing or rushing. It needs kindness. And most of all, it needs your presence. Begin simply. Each morning, before you rise, place your hand gently over your heart. Feel it beating still strong, still faithful. After all these years, whisper softly to yourself, I'm still here. I'm still alive. And I choose to care for myself today. That alone is healing. Start your day with warmth not only from tea or breakfast, but from movement that honors where you are now. A slow stretch. A breath deep into your belly. A walk beneath the morning light, not for steps or goals, but for your spirit. Let the sun kiss your skin. Let the breeze remind you that you're still part of this earth, still connected to something larger than the pain. And when you eat not just to fuel but to nourish. Choose foods that comfort the body, not numb it. Leafy greens, berries, warm soups, gentle spices like turmeric and ginger. These are more than ingredients. They're small acts of care. They tell your body, I see you. I want you to feel safe. In the quiet moments of your day, breathe, deeply, slowly. Close your eyes and place a hand on any part of you that aches. Don't ask it to stop hurting. Just let it know it's not alone. So often, the deepest pain comes from feeling unseen, even by ourselves. You can also write. Not for anyone else, just for you. Write about what hurts, about what you miss, about the strength it took to survive things no one else even noticed. As the words pour out, so will pieces of the ache. And in the evenings before sleep, give thanks. Not for perfection, not for a body without pain, but for endurance, for breath, for another day of being here, of loving, of learning, of becoming softer. Healing after 60 is not a race. It's not a return to who you once were. It is a homecoming to yourself, to the body that never gave up on you, even when you gave up on it. Now, it asks only this. Will you walk with me gently, from here on? Let me share with you a story. Mr. Harold was 68 when the pain in his knees became part of his everyday life. It wasn't sudden. It crept in slowly, a dull ache when walking up the stairs, a sharper sting when bending to tie his shoes. At first he blamed age. He took pain relievers. He pushed through, but the ache remained, faithful and constant. After retiring from his job as a school janitor, a role he held for over 40 years, Harold found his days quieter than he expected. No more bells ringing. No children laughing. No small conversations at the coffee machine. Just silence. Too much of it. The house, once filled with life, now echoed with absence. His wife had passed 3 winters ago. His children lived out of state, busy with families of their own. He smiled when they called, but the smile never quite reached his eyes. One afternoon his doctor asked him a simple question. "Besides the pain, how are you?" "Really?" Harold hesitated. No one had asked him that in a long time. That night, instead of watching television to distract himself, he picked up an old notebook from the drawer. He began writing about the ache, yes, but more about the emptiness. About how strange it felt to no longer be needed. About how much he missed the sound of someone calling his name from another room. About the grief that had lived quietly inside him. Too polite to speak up. He wrote for hours. The next day, the pain was still there. But it felt different. It no longer screamed. It sighed, as if it had finally been acknowledged. Harold kept writing. Not every day, but often. And each time, something softened. Not his joints, but his heart. He realized the pain wasn't just in his knees. It was in the silence. In the memories, in the parts of him he had ignored. And in listening to that pain, not fixing it, not fearing it, he began to heal. And perhaps the greatest healing of all is simply this: to begin again not in youth, but in gentleness. You see, the world taught us to be strong by pushing through pain, by pretending it wasn't there, by smiling when our hearts were breaking. But now, in this sacred chapter of life, you no longer need to prove anything. You've already survived the storms. You've already climbed the mountains. The time for struggling has passed. What your body longs for now is peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from silence, but the kind that comes from being seen, from being heard, from being held even if only by your own hands. You don't have to return to the energy you had at 30. You don't have to be the version of yourself that once carried the world on your back. No, now is the time to become who you were always meant to be beneath all the roles, the duties, the expectations. Now is the time to be soft. Soft doesn't mean weak. It means wise enough to stop fighting yourself. It means brave enough to feel what hurts, to love what's been scarred, and to forgive what was once forgotten, including yourself. And when the pain rises, as it will let it rise without fear, sit beside it like an old friend. Ask it, "What are you here to teach me today?" And then, simply listen. Because sometimes, the lesson isn't how to make the pain go away, but how to love yourself more tenderly in the presence of it. You've given so much in your life to family, to work, to others. But now, dear one, the giving must turn inward. Not selfishly, but sacredly. Your care, your patience, your kindness, they are no longer things you must offer to the world first. They are gifts you can finally give to yourself. So tonight, as you rest your head, know this: your body is not broken. It is not failing. It is remembering. And in that remembering, there is wisdom not just about pain, but about life, love, and what truly matters. Let that be enough. Let that be beautiful. Let that finally be healing. Your body has walked with you through every season, through the joy of new beginnings, the weight of loss, the quiet days of routine, and the nights when sleep never came. It has carried your strength, your sorrow, your laughter, your silence, and still, after all this time, it remains by your side, asking not for perfection, but simply for kindness. It is not weak, it is not broken, it is wise. Every wrinkle, every scar, every ache, they are not signs of failure, but of life fully lived. They are the poetry of your existence, written not in words, but in experience. And now, your body does not ask to be young again. It only asks to be seen, to be honored, to be loved for what it is, not what it once was. So when pain visits you, do not turn away in frustration or fear. Instead, lean in, gently, tenderly, as you would with an old friend who has something important to say. Because often, pain is not asking for a cure, it's asking for compassion. This stage of life is not the end of vitality, it is the deepening of it. You are no longer running. You are arriving. Arriving into a slower, softer way of being. And in that slowing down, you gain something younger people cannot yet see. The wisdom to listen, the patience to understand, and the grace to accept. Let your body be your teacher now. Let it guide you toward presence, toward rest, toward joy found not in what you do, but in how you feel safe, warm, and whole, just as you are. You are not falling apart. You are coming home to yourself. So today, as you move through the hours ahead, may you carry one simple truth in your heart. I don't need to be pain-free to be at peace. I only need to stop fighting myself and start walking with love, one gentle step at a time. Because healing doesn't always look like a miracle. Sometimes, it looks like finally listening. And finally, after all these years being heard, and if these words touch something quiet inside you, if you found yourself nodding or even tearing up a little, then perhaps this message wasn't just for your body. It was for your heart. At Golden Age Life, we create videos like this, slow, thoughtful, and full of the kind of wisdom that only comes after 60. Not to fix you, not to change you, but to walk beside you through the aches, the quiet moments, the questions no one else dares to ask. So if you'd like more stories like this, more gentle reminders that you're not alone, more conversations that honor your journey, we invite you to subscribe. Not out of habit, but out of care. Click subscribe, and let's keep walking this path together. One step at a time, one breath at a time. With softness, with strength, with grace. Because you deserve a place that sees you. And here, you are always seen.